Get your black ass to the service entrance where you belong. The security guard blocks Vanessa Taylor, physically pushing her toward the back hallway. When she tries to explain, he grabs her ID badge, rips it from her neck, and tosses it into a trash can. Nice fake. Next time, get better props. The second guard dumps her briefcase contents onto the floor. A white executive steps forward, deliberately placing his polished shoe directly on her scattered resume. He smirks as he grinds it into the marble. Someone escort this woman out before the real meeting attendees arrive. Little did they know, Vanessa Taylor wasn't there to clean the building, she was there to clean house. Vanessa Taylor steps through the gleaming glass doors of Meridian Technologies headquarters. The newly appointed CEO arrives 3 weeks before her official announcement. She's decided to observe operations incognito after hearing troubling rumors about toxic leadership and discrimination. She studies the lobby with calculating eyes. Her strategy is deliberate modest business suit instead of designer wear, simple leather briefcase rather than her usual monogrammed attaché, natural hair instead of the straightened style she adopts for board meetings. The disguise isn't elaborate, just enough to blend in rather than command attention. At reception, she approaches with confident strides. "Good morning. I have a meeting with the board." The receptionist barely glances up. Her eyes flick over Vanessa's appearance, lingering on her hair. "You'll want HR 7th floor." She points toward the elevators. "They handle all the entry-level positions." "I'm not here for—" Vanessa begins, then stops. This is information worth collecting. "Thank you." In HR, Vanessa sits in a crowded waiting area. She watches as 3 white applicants who arrive after her are called in first. 40 minutes pass before an HR manager finally addresses her. "So, you're interested in joining our team?" The HR manager speaks with exaggerated slowness, enunciating each word as if Vanessa might struggle with comprehension. "Let me explain our corporate structure in simple terms." Vanessa nods, mentally recording every microaggression. She plays along, gathering intelligence with each patronizing interaction. When finally directed to the executive floor, she encounters the security guards who block her path. The executive who handed her the coffee cup was about to learn an expensive lesson about judging books by their covers. After the security guard incident, Vanessa calmly retrieves her scattered belongings. She pulls out her company ID from her briefcase but only shows enough to confirm she's an employee with clearance. The guards reluctantly step aside. No apology crosses their lips. "Don't make us regret this," one mutters as she passes. Vanessa enters the executive waiting area. Marble floors gleam beneath her feet. Original artwork adorns the walls. The atmosphere reeks of privilege and exclusivity. Bradley Wilson, the company's COO, stands near the conference room preparing for the management meeting. His tailored suit and crisp movements broadcast authority. He glances at his watch, then barks orders at a nervous assistant. Vanessa approaches with measured steps. "Excuse me, I'm here for the 10 o'clock meeting." Bradley looks up. His eyes perform a swift assessment, moving from her face to her shoes and back. His expression shifts from momentary confusion to thinly veiled disdain. "This meeting is for senior management only," he states coldly. "Are you lost?" "The board invited me," Vanessa replies evenly. Bradley's eyes narrow. His lips form a tight line as he recalibrates. "Oh, you must be from HR or that diversity initiative." He sighs dramatically. "Fine. Wait outside until we call you in. This first part doesn't concern you." "Actually, I'm expected to attend the full meeting." Bradley's face reddens. He glances around at the other executives filtering in. "Can someone explain to this woman that we have important matters to discuss?" His voice rises just enough to draw attention. His assistant, Morgan, shifts uncomfortably but remains silent. The other executives either ignore Vanessa completely or offer curious glances tinged with dismissal. "Take a seat outside," Bradley instructs, turning his back on her. "We'll call you when we're ready." Vanessa takes a seat outside the conference room, pulls out her phone, and texts a single word to the chairman of the board. Confirmed. Through the glass walls of the conference room, Vanessa observes Bradley Wilson commanding the meeting. He moves with practiced confidence, gesturing emphatically at presentation slides that flash across the screen. Vanessa can make out graphs showing declining diversity metrics. Another slide details the cancellation of several inclusion initiatives. The executives nod in agreement as Bradley speaks. No one questions him. No one offers alternatives. The few women and people of color in the room remain notably silent. After 30 minutes, Bradley emerges from the room. He approaches Vanessa with thinly veiled impatience. "We're ready for the diversity portion now," he announces, checking his watch. 5 minutes, no more. We have actual business to get back to. He holds the door open, making no effort to hide his irritation. Vanessa rises and enters the lion's den. The moment she steps inside, the atmosphere shifts. Executives who moments ago appeared engaged now wear expressions of boredom. Some scroll through their phones. Others whisper to each other. "This is..." Bradley pauses theatrically. "I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. She's here to talk about diversity or something." The dismissive wave of his hand reduces her to an afterthought. Vanessa introduces herself and begins to speak about company culture. She cites specific concerns backed by data. Before she can elaborate, a silver-haired executive interrupts. "We've heard all this before. What's the bottom line?" Another executive checks his watch ostentatiously. "Some of us have real meetings after this." A third answers a phone call mid-presentation, speaking loudly enough to drown out Vanessa's voice. Bradley finally cuts her off completely. "Look, we appreciate the HR perspective, but we have real business to discuss." He doesn't bother to hide his condescension. "Perhaps leave your materials and we'll review them later." As Vanessa collects her notes, an executive bumps into her. Coffee spills across her portfolio, staining documents and seeping into her briefcase. "Oops," he says without conviction. "Accidents happen." No one offers to help clean up. No one apologizes. Bradley motions for an assistant to show her out. As she's being escorted out, Vanessa hears Bradley's voice clearly through the not-quite-closed door. "That's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back." Laughter follows. When will they understand that these diversity hires just drag us down? More laughter erupts. They make no effort to lower their voices, assuming or not caring that she can hear every word. As the door closed behind her, Vanessa didn't feel defeated. She felt dangerous. Vanessa strides purposefully toward the women's restroom, her face a mask of professional composure. Only when the door locks behind her does she allow herself a deep breath. She places her stained portfolio on the counter and studies her reflection. Her eyes hold steady. No tears, no signs of weakness. She straightens her jacket with deliberate movements, smooths her hair, and makes a silent vow that what just happened will never happen to anyone else at Meridian again. Not on her watch. "They have no idea who they're dealing with," she whispers to her reflection. She retrieves her phone and dials Chairwoman Diana Chen, who recruited her specifically to transform the company's toxic culture. Diana answers on the first ring. "How bad is it?" Diana asks without preamble. "Worse than we suspected," Vanessa replies, her voice calm despite the fury simmering beneath. She details the morning's events, the reception desk, the HR waiting room, the security guards, and finally, the boardroom humiliation. Diana's sharp intake of breath carries through the phone. "This is appalling, but not surprising given what we've heard. Do you want me to intervene? I can call an emergency board meeting." "No," Vanessa says firmly. "I need to see how deep this goes. If we move too soon, they'll just hide the rot." "Agreed," Diana responds after a brief hesitation. "The quarterly review meeting is in 2 days. All executives must present their departmental results to the new CEO. Will you be ready?" "More than ready," Vanessa confirms. Keep my cover until then. As she ends the call, a soft knock interrupts her thoughts. She opens the door to find Morgan, Bradley's assistant who witnessed her humiliation. "I'm sorry," Morgan says, glancing nervously down the hallway. "I should have said something in there." "Why didn't you?" Vanessa asks, not unkindly. Morgan's shoulders slump. "This happens all the time." The last assistant who spoke up was fired the next day. "Tell me more," Vanessa encourages. Over the next 15 minutes, Morgan reveals a pattern of toxic behavior. Talented employees forced out, promotions denied based on race or gender, complaints buried, witnesses silenced. "I've kept records," Morgan confesses. "I thought maybe someday someone would care enough to investigate." Vanessa studies Morgan carefully. "I think that day has arrived. I'm conducting an HR investigation. Can you provide me access to certain files?" Morgan nods eagerly, believing she's helping HR address the problems. "Whatever you need, just be careful. Bradley has eyes everywhere." "I'm counting on it," Vanessa says. "Discretion is essential." Let's proceed as if this conversation never happened. Bradley Wilson had no idea he'd just handed the new CEO everything she needed to dismantle his empire. The next morning arrives with golden light streaming through the windows of Meridian Technologies. Vanessa arrives early, before most executives make their appearance. She carries a small laptop bag and moves with quiet efficiency. Morgan meets her in the lobby, anxiety evident in her quick movements. "I found you a small office on the executive floor," she whispers. "It's rarely used, mostly for visiting consultants." "Perfect," Vanessa replies. The office is modest but strategically located near Bradley's corner suite. Morgan helps Vanessa access the company's internal systems, then provides a folder of files she's collected over months. "These show the pattern," Morgan explains. "Pay disparities, promotion denials, complaint dismissals. I've highlighted the worst offenders." Vanessa dives into the documents, methodically building a case. The evidence is damning. Female employees earn 23% less than male counterparts in identical positions. Minority employees remain trapped in entry-level roles despite stellar performance reviews. Complaints of harassment mysteriously disappear from HR records. She doesn't hear Bradley approach until his shadow falls across her desk. He stands in the doorway, his face darkening as he registers her presence. "Who authorized you to be here?" His voice cuts through the room. "This is executive territory." Vanessa doesn't flinch. "I'm conducting a review for HR." Bradley strides forward, snatching papers from her desk. His eyes scan the documents, widening with each page. The veins in his neck pulse visibly. "These are confidential personnel files," he snarls. "You have no authority to access these." Vanessa meets his gaze steadily. "I have all the authority I need." "Oh." Bradley's hand slams against the desk. "You're done here." He pulls out his phone, dialing quickly. "Security? This is Wilson. I need someone to remove an unauthorized person accessing confidential information. Executive floor, West Wing. 2 security guards arrive within minutes. One recognizes Vanessa from yesterday and shifts uncomfortably. Bradley points at her. "Escort her from the building." "Revoke all access credentials." Vanessa calmly gathers her belongings. The guards flank her as Bradley watches with smug satisfaction. At the doorway, Vanessa pauses. She turns to Bradley with a measured glance. "Documentation is everything, Mr. Wilson." The cryptic comment leaves a flicker of uncertainty on his face. The security cameras had captured everything, including Bradley's unauthorized handling of confidential HR documents. That afternoon, Meridian's corporate cafe buzzes with lunchtime activity. Vanessa sits at a corner table, a visitor badge clipped to her jacket. She observes the social dynamics unfolding around her. Who speaks to whom? Who sits alone? The invisible hierarchies revealed through small gestures and seating arrangements. She makes occasional notes on her tablet, appearing to any observer like a consultant or vendor. Several employees notice her but assume she belongs to someone else's department. No one questions her presence. The cafe hushes momentarily as Bradley Wilson enters with his executive team. They claim the premium table in the center a power move visible to everyone. Bradley laughs loudly at something, demanding the room's attention. Then he spots Vanessa. His laughter dies mid-breath. He nearly chokes on his drink, color draining from his face before rapidly returning in an angry flush. He excuses himself from his companions and marches toward her. "I thought I made myself clear this morning," he hisses quietly, leaning close to avoid creating a scene. Vanessa sips her tea calmly. "I'm having lunch, Mr. Wilson." "Shh. This is a public space." Bradley's colleague, Finance Director Trevor Reynolds, approaches. Unlike Bradley's aggressive stance, Trevor appears genuinely curious about the confrontation. "Everything all right here, Brad?" Trevor's tone is neutral, his eyes assessing the situation. Bradley straightens, forcing a tight smile. "Just a misunderstanding. This woman is from HR, investigating imaginary discrimination claims." Trevor studies Vanessa with newfound interest. His expression reveals neither dismissal nor immediate belief. "Perhaps we should discuss these concerns properly." He gestures to their table. "Would you join us?" Bradley's horror is poorly concealed. "That's not necessary." "I insist," Trevor interrupts. "If there are issues, we should address them directly." At their table, other executives react to Vanessa's presence with varying degrees of suspicion and curiosity. Trevor questions her thoughtfully about her findings, while Bradley seethes beside him. "Our retention rates for diverse employees are concerning," Trevor acknowledges. "I've noticed it in the financial projections." "It's just natural turnover," Bradley counters. "Not everything is discrimination." Vanessa presents specific examples without revealing her true position. Some executives dismiss her outright. Others listen with growing concern. The table gradually divides into factions. Trevor seems genuinely troubled by the patterns she describes. This could present significant liability issues. Bradley's patience shatters. His arm jerks suddenly, knocking a glass of water directly into Vanessa's lap. Water cascades across her clothes and documents. "Oh, how clumsy of me," Bradley says with transparent insincerity. "Accidents happen." Trevor Reynolds would be the first crack in Bradley's wall of allies. Morning light streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Meridian's main conference room. The quarterly review meeting, the company's most important internal gathering, is scheduled to begin in 15 minutes. Executives hurry in, carrying presentation folders and tablets, tension evident in their movements. Bradley Wilson stands at the head of the conference table, commanding attention. His confidence appears unshaken despite yesterday's confrontations. He gestures for the room to quiet down. "Before our new CEO arrives," Bradley announces, "we need to align our messaging. This is critical." The executives lean forward, sensing the gravity in his tone. "The new CEO is some diversity hire the board forced on us," Bradley continues, his voice lowering conspiratorially. "We need to present a united front. Stick to the approved narratives about our initiatives. Downplay any issues." Murmurs of agreement ripple through the room. Some executives nod enthusiastically while others appear less convinced. Trevor Reynolds remains notably silent, studying his documents with unusual intensity. "If we don't control this narrative," Bradley warns, "we'll be drowning in pointless sensitivity trainings and diversity quotas instead of focusing on actual business." The door opens. Conversation halts abruptly as Vanessa enters, wearing the same modest attire as before. Bradley spots her and stands up abruptly, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "This meeting is closed," he announces sharply. "How did you get in here?" Vanessa calmly takes a seat at the back of the room. "I'm here to observe." "Have you ever witnessed workplace discrimination?" "How did you or others respond?" Bradley's face contorts with barely contained rage. He strides around the table toward her. I don't know who you think you are or what game you're playing, but this ends now. He turns to an executive. Call security. Again. When security arrives, Bradley points at Vanessa. Remove her immediately. The head of security glances between them, clearly uncomfortable. Sir, we received instructions from the board office that all observers are permitted today. I don't care what you received, Bradley snaps. I'm telling you now. The security guard hesitates, caught between conflicting authorities. Bradley, losing patience, grabs Vanessa's arm. I'll handle this myself. Several executives look shocked at this physical escalation. Trevor half rises from his seat. Take your hand off me, Mr. Wilson, Vanessa says quietly but firmly. You'll want to be very careful about your next move. The conference room doors opened, and the chairman of the board walked in with a very different introduction than anyone expected. Chairwoman Diana Chen enters the conference room with two other board members flanking her. Her presence immediately commands attention. The room falls silent. Even Bradley's grip on Vanessa's arm loosens in momentary confusion. Good morning, everyone, Diana says, her voice clear and authoritative. I trust you're all prepared for today's quarterly review. Her eyes take in the scene. Bradley standing over Vanessa, the uncomfortable security guard, the tense executives. Her expression reveals nothing, but her next words land like precision strikes. I see you've all had the pleasure of meeting Vanessa Taylor. Bradley drops Vanessa's arm and steps forward. Diana, this woman has been disrupting operations for days. She's accessed confidential files and... Diana raises her hand, cutting him off mid-sentence. The gesture is subtle but unmistakable. Bradley falls silent despite himself. Vanessa, Diana says calmly, would you like to introduce yourself properly now? Vanessa rises slowly. The room watches as she walks deliberately to the head of the conference table Bradley's position. She stands there, her posture transforming subtly. The modest demeanor falls away, replaced by unmistakable executive presence. I'm Vanessa Taylor, she announces, your new chief executive officer. The room freezes. A collective intake of breath hangs suspended. Bradley's face drains of color. Some executives look shocked, others horrified as memories of their behavior flash through their minds. For the past 3 days, Vanessa continues, her voice steady, I've been observing this company's operations from the ground up. I've experienced firsthand how this organization treats people based on appearance rather than merit. She begins a methodical recounting, her words precise as surgical instruments. I was directed to the service entrance by security. I was told to wait while others were seen ahead of me. I was handed a coffee cup to dispose of, mistaken for cleaning staff. With each example, she names the responsible executive and the specific policy violated. No one speaks, no one moves. I was forced to wait outside meetings I was meant to attend. I had my documents taken from me without authorization, and just moments ago, I was physically grabbed in front of witnesses. Bradley attempts to interrupt. This was an underhanded tactic. You misrepresented yourself. I presented myself as a Meridian employee, which is exactly what I am, Vanessa counters. She gestures to Diana, who produces a tablet. Security footage plays on the conference room screen. Each incident Vanessa described appears in crisp detail. The coffee cup, the waiting room, Bradley snatching documents, the physical confrontation moments ago. Mr. Wilson, Vanessa says, turning to face him directly, in the past 3 days, you've violated company policy regarding workplace harassment, confidential documents, and physical conduct, not to mention simple professional courtesy. Bradley looks to his allies, finding uncertain faces. His support crumbles visibly. Diana steps forward. The board unanimously appointed Ms. Taylor not just for her exceptional business record, but specifically to address the toxic culture that has developed here. Trevor Reynolds clears his throat. For what it's worth, I've been concerned about these issues for some time. His admission breaks the dam. Other executives speak up, some admitting they've recognized the problems but feared retaliation. Bradley and his closest allies sit in stunned silence, watching their power structure collapse in real time. Vanessa takes her seat at the head of the table. Now, shall we continue with the quarterly review as scheduled? I'm particularly interested in the diversity metrics Mr. Wilson was presenting yesterday. As Vanessa took her seat at the head of the table, Bradley Wilson suddenly realized that his career wasn't just in jeopardy, it was already over. The quarterly review proceeds with a drastically altered atmosphere. Executives who dismissed Vanessa minutes ago now struggle to impress her. Every graph, every metric, every projection faces new scrutiny. Presentations that glossed over departmental shortcomings suddenly appear transparent in their deception. Bradley sits silently, occasionally attempting to defend decisions that now seem indefensible. His usual commanding presence diminishes with each passing minute. By the meeting's end, he appears physically smaller in his chair. "Thank you for your presentations," Vanessa concludes. "Diana, board members, and department heads will remain." Everyone else is dismissed. Her tone brooks no argument. "Except you, Mr. Wilson. You'll stay." As the room clears, Vanessa calls in additional participants, the heads of HR and legal, along with Morgan, who enters carrying files and a laptop. The atmosphere shifts from tension to focused determination. "This is an emergency session," Vanessa announces. "What we've witnessed requires immediate action." She projects a comprehensive report onto the screen, a document she compiled with Morgan's assistance over the past 3 days. The evidence is damning. Emails detailing discriminatory hiring practices, performance reviews altered to justify denying promotions to qualified minorities, complaints buried or dismissed without investigation. "Is this accurate?" Diana asks the legal director, her voice sharp. The woman nods grimly. "Based on my preliminary review, yes. We have significant liability exposure here." The HR director appears visibly shaken. "I wasn't aware of—" "You should have been," Vanessa interrupts. "That's literally your job." The HR director falls silent, properly chastised. Morgan presents additional statistics alarming turnover rates among women and minorities, with exit interviews citing hostile work environment as the primary reason for departure. The pattern spans 5 years, corresponding precisely with Bradley's tenure as COO. Bradley attempts to defend himself. "These are isolated incidents being mischaracterized. Save it for your attorney." Vanessa cuts him off. "You'll need one." She turns to the group. "Effective immediately, these changes will be implemented." What follows is surgical in its precision. Bradley and 2 other executives are placed on administrative leave pending investigation. An independent audit of all promotion and compensation decisions from the past 5 years is ordered. A confidential reporting system for workplace issues is established, bypassing traditional management chains. Mandatory training on workplace conduct is scheduled for all leadership. In the days that follow, former employees begin emerging with their stories. An engineer who was fired after reporting harassment. A marketing director whose ideas were stolen by male colleagues. A finance analyst passed over for promotion 6 times, despite outstanding performance. These former employees find their way to Vanessa, encouraged by current staff who whisper about the new CEO who exposed the truth. Their complaints, once buried, now form the foundation for legal action. Meanwhile, Morgan leads a group of employees in creating a support network to help implement cultural changes. They meet after hours, sharing experiences and developing recommendations for a healthier workplace. Some of Bradley's allies attempt to undermine Vanessa's authority through back channels and subtle sabotage. They discover quickly that their influence is evaporating as colleagues align with the new direction. The company's legal team uncovers a pattern more disturbing than initially suspected. Bradley had been quietly settling discrimination claims, hiding them from the board and charging them to different budget lines to avoid scrutiny. This financial misconduct provides clear grounds for termination without benefits or severance. Industry publications pick up the story. The first headlines read, "CEO goes undercover to expose toxic culture." Soon, the narrative evolves into a larger conversation about systemic discrimination in the tech industry. Meridian's stock experiences a brief dip as investors process the revelations. It stabilizes quickly when analysts note Vanessa's decisive leadership and transparent handling of the crisis. Several major clients reach out to express support for the company's new direction. 3 weeks after the quarterly review, Vanessa sits in her office reviewing the latest reports. The independent audit confirms what she already knew. The discrimination was systemic, deliberate, and damaging. The financial impact alone runs into millions. Lost talent, unnecessary settlements, decreased productivity. Diana joins her to discuss next steps. The board is prepared to authorize whatever resources you need to fix this. Vanessa nods, already formulating a comprehensive plan. It's not just about fixing the past. It's about creating a future where this can never happen again. She looks down at the termination letter prepared for Bradley Wilson. All it requires is her signature. But something about it feels insufficient. A private conclusion to a problem that demands public accountability. "I have something else in mind," Vanessa tells Diana. "Something more effective than a quiet dismissal." Bradley Wilson's termination letter was ready for delivery, but Vanessa had something much more powerful in mind. 2 weeks later, Bradley Wilson sits before a panel in Meridian's largest conference room. Gone is his customary confidence. His usual impeccable appearance shows subtle signs of strained shirt slightly wrinkled, tie fractionally askew. His attorney sits beside him, periodically whispering cautions. Across from him, Vanessa Taylor presides over the formal hearing. Board members flank her on either side. Legal counsel and HR representatives complete the panel. The contrast is stark. Vanessa radiates calm authority while Bradley exudes anxious defensiveness. This hearing will determine the appropriate response to the documented violations of company policy, fiduciary duty, and potentially applicable laws, Vanessa begins, her voice measured and clear. "Mr. Wilson, you'll have the opportunity to address each allegation." She lays out the case methodically, displaying evidence on the screen behind her. Emails in Bradley's own words revealing bias. Financial records showing misappropriated funds used to settle discrimination claims. Performance reviews manipulated to justify denying promotions to qualified minorities. Bradley's attorney leans forward. "This entire process is problematic. My client was subjected to what amounts to entrapment. Ms. Taylor misrepresented herself to gather information." Vanessa's response comes without hesitation. "I represented myself as a Meridian employee, which I am. I never claimed to be anyone other than myself." Her gaze fixes directly on Bradley. "I simply experienced your company exactly as any other black woman would. No deception was necessary to expose the culture you created." The attorney persists. "These were isolated incidents taken out of context." "Let's address context then," Vanessa replies, activating the screen again. Bradley's own recorded statements fill the room. Dismissive comments about diversity hires, jokes at employees' expense, explicit instructions to find reasons to reject qualified minority candidates. Bradley shifts uncomfortably as his own voice condemns him. He alternates between mumbled apologies and defensive justifications. "These were business decisions," he insists at one point. "Jokes taken out of context," at another. Neither explanation lands convincingly. The final blow comes when Trevor Reynolds takes the witness chair. Unlike Bradley's stammering defenses, Trevor speaks with clear professional precision. "I witnessed Mr. Wilson explicitly discuss blocking diverse candidates from advancement," Trevor testifies. He said, and I quote, "We need to maintain the right culture fit." When asked to clarify, he explained that meant people who look and think like us. Other executives follow with similar accounts. Some appear genuinely remorseful for their silence. Others clearly sense which way the wind blows and testify to save themselves. By the hearing's end, Bradley's defense has crumbled completely. His attorney sits in defeated silence as the panel delivers its verdict. Bradley Wilson is terminated for cause, effective immediately, Vanessa announces. All stock options are forfeit. No severance will be paid. The company reserves the right to pursue legal action regarding the misappropriation of funds. Security waits to escort Bradley from the building through the main entrance, not the service door. As he walks the gauntlet of employees he once dominated, their silent witness carries more weight than verbal condemnation. Morgan stands among them, watching Bradley's exit with quiet satisfaction. Other employees who suffered under his leadership line the hallway, their presence a testament to survival and now, vindication. Bradley avoids eye contact, staring straight ahead as he carries his personal belongings in a standard-issue cardboard box. The symbolism escapes no one. The man who once ruled through intimidation, now reduced to the very humiliation he inflicted on others. Outside, reporters wait. The story has grown beyond a single company's reckoning. Bradley pushes past them without comment, but their cameras capture everything. His downfall now becomes public record. Bradley Wilson lost his job, but Vanessa Taylor was about to ensure he lost much more than that. 3 months later, Vanessa stands at a podium addressing the annual Technology Leadership Conference. The prestigious event once showcased an almost exclusively white male lineup of speakers. This year, the audience reflects growing diversity. Still not enough, but noticeably improved. Camera flashes punctuate the hushed attention as Vanessa begins her keynote address. Transformation isn't just about replacing leadership, she states. It's about reimagining systems. She shares Meridian's story not as a personal triumph, but as a case study in organizational change. Charts and graphs illustrate the company's evolution over 3 months. The data tells a compelling story of deliberate, measurable improvement. We implemented comprehensive reforms, Vanessa explains. Not cosmetic changes, but structural ones. The screen behind her outlines Meridian's new approach. Transparent promotion criteria with blind review processes to eliminate bias. Compensation equity reviews conducted quarterly rather than annually. Mentorship programs pairing senior leaders with promising talent from underrepresented groups. Physical restructuring of executive spaces to eliminate the architectural reinforcement of exclusivity. The results speak for themselves, Vanessa continues. New slides reveal dramatic improvement in retention metrics. Exit interviews now cite positive culture as a reason to stay rather than toxicity as a reason to leave. Most surprising to industry analysts, innovation metrics and financial performance have strengthened considerably. Diverse perspectives drive innovation, Vanessa emphasizes. This isn't charity, it's competitive advantage. Throughout the audience, executives take notes. Representatives from competing firms study the presentation with particular intensity. Several companies have already begun adopting similar approaches, some voluntarily after seeing Meridian's success, others under pressure from investors who recognize the business advantage of inclusive practices. Bradley Wilson's name never appears in the presentation, but his shadow looms as a cautionary tale. Despite numerous attempts to secure another executive position, his reputation follows him. Recruiters return his calls less frequently. Board members suddenly remember other commitments when he requests meetings. He eventually takes a much lower position at a struggling startup, where he complains bitterly about cancel culture to anyone who will listen. Fewer and fewer people do. The conference concludes with Vanessa announcing an industry-wide initiative to address systemic barriers. Meridian will lead the effort, sharing resources and best practices with participating companies. A dozen CEOs join her on stage to sign a public commitment. What began as one company's reckoning has catalyzed movement-level change, Vanessa concludes. But our work has just begun. As she exits the stage to thunderous applause, her phone buzzes with a notification. Meridian's stock has reached an all-time high. Investors are betting on the future she represents, not just for her company, but for an industry finally confronting its failures and reimagining its potential. Later that evening, at a private dinner with other industry leaders, the conversation turns to specific strategies for implementation. The executives who once viewed diversity as a compliance checkbox now discuss it as a business imperative. The shift, while not universal, marks a fundamental change in perspective. The true test of Vanessa's leadership wasn't punishing the past. It was building a future where her experience would never be repeated. 1 year later, sunlight streams through the windows of Vanessa's office at Meridian Technologies headquarters. She reviews the company's annual performance report with quiet satisfaction. The numbers validate everything she's worked to achieve. Revenue up 18%. Innovation metrics at record levels. Employee satisfaction scores nearly doubled. Morgan, now promoted to Chief of Staff, enters with the quarterly diversity report. Her confident stride reflects her rise through the organization, no longer the nervous assistant afraid to speak up. "The latest numbers just came in," Morgan announces, placing the report on Vanessa's desk. The data tells a clear story of transformation. Retention up 40% across all demographics. Recruitment of diverse candidates exceeds targets in every department. Most importantly, promotion equity shows consistent improvement across all demographics. "Remember when this seemed impossible?" Morgan asks. Vanessa nods, thinking back to her first day and the security guard who blocked her path. After sincere apology and extensive training, he now leads security's new unconscious bias initiative. His team ensures everyone entering Meridian receives the same respectful treatment, regardless of appearance or position. "People can change when systems allow them to," Vanessa observes. She rises from her desk and walks to the executive floor where a meeting is in progress. Through the glass walls, which once concealed the old power structure's machinations, she sees a truly diverse leadership team engaged in animated discussion. The tableau looks nothing like the homogeneous group she encountered a year ago. Junior members speak without fear of interruption. Senior executives listen with genuine attention. Ideas flow freely, unrestrained by artificial hierarchies or bias. As Vanessa enters, the room doesn't fall silent in fear as it once did for Bradley. Instead, there's genuine respect as she joins the table, not at the head, but among her colleagues. Later that afternoon, Vanessa gives a new employee orientation. The room is filled with faces representing a spectrum of backgrounds and experiences. She shares her first-day story, not to shame, but to illustrate how deeply culture matters. "The measure of leadership isn't the power you wield," she tells them. "It's the environment you create for others to succeed." After the session, a young black woman approaches her. "Your story is why I applied here," she confesses. "My professor showed us your conference keynote. It made me believe I could pursue a tech career despite being told I didn't belong." Vanessa takes a moment to truly see this young woman, bright, capable, and no longer required to dim her light to accommodate others' discomfort. That evening, as Vanessa prepares to leave for the day, she pauses at her office window. The city skyline glows in the dusk light. She reflects that while exposing Bradley brought satisfaction, building this new reality brings fulfillment. The company hasn't just changed policies, it's changed lives, including her own. She no longer needs to wear different versions of herself for different audiences. Her natural hair, one is considered unprofessional in corporate settings, has become her signature look. Her authentic leadership style has proven more effective than the performative authority Bradley relied upon. True power isn't about forcing others down, it's about lifting everyone up. If you were in Vanessa's position, would you have revealed your identity sooner or played the long game like she did? As our story concludes, Vanessa Taylor stands as a model of strategic patience and purposeful leadership. Rather than simply punishing those who wronged her, she systematically rebuilt a broken culture from its foundation. Her approach offers lessons for anyone facing discrimination or toxic environments. Document everything. Build strategic alliances. Understand the system before attempting to change it. Focus on structural change, not just individual consequences. Vanessa's story resonates because it combines satisfying justice with meaningful reform. The narrative validates the experiences of many while offering a blueprint for action. For viewers facing similar challenges, remember that Vanessa succeeded not just because she had position power, but because she used that power strategically. Her techniques can be adapted at any level. Gather concrete evidence, find allies, even unexpected ones. Address systems, not just symptoms. Lead with clarity and purpose, not vengeance. The business world is changing, but change requires catalysts. Sometimes those catalysts come from unexpected places, like a CEO mistaken for the cleaning staff. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to PAP Stories for more powerful narratives that inspire and empower. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our newest uploads featuring stories of justice, transformation, and triumph against all odds. Our community thrives on your comments and experiences. Have you witnessed workplace discrimination? Share your story below and join thousands of viewers supporting each other through similar challenges. Next week, we'll bring you another compelling story of justice served when an underestimated assistant uses her boss's own tactics to expose corporate fraud. You won't want to miss it. Remember, at PAP Stories, we believe in the power of narrative to change hearts, minds, and ultimately, the world. Your subscription helps us continue sharing these important stories. Thank you for being part of our growing family.